लोहित्य निर्जात जप कुसुमानराकं वशङ्कचेतनारिषु न विधारयन्तीं तामृताय मरुणामल्यविशेषभ्रूक्षां ताम्बूलमुपरीतां मुनिं त्रिपुरं नमामि. So, invocation. So the Saundarya Lahari. Let me explain the background first before we go into the ecstasy of beauty. Saundarya, beautiful, beauty. Lahari, ecstasy. So we all know many kinds of laharis, but this is the Lahari of Saundarya, penned by none other than Shankara Bhagavatpada, the Shankara, who also wrote all the abstract commentaries on the Brahma Sutras, the Upanishad, not so abstract commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita, great textbooks like Viveka Chudamani, Dridriksha Viveka, and so on. Now, all these, of course, the Vedantic side of Shankaracharya is more of a head thing, while his commentaries on Saundarya Lahari, for instance, are more of heart. So, I think in the present millennium, in the present time when we are passing through, the teachings of textbooks like the Saundarya Lahari are very important, because we need to balance the heart and the head move forward. Although Saundarya Lahari contains a lot of bhakti or devotional trust, it's actually a very mystical poetry. First of all, let me explain this. There is Vedanta, there are other literature like Bhakti literature and so on, and there is Raja Yoga, but there is one particular section of the ancient teachings which is known as the Tantra. One of the most misunderstood words, Tantra. Some people, Tantra means to drink till you can't get up, because in the Kaula Marga, one of the Panchamakaras is Madhu. There are others who think that Tantra is something mysteriously performed in the cremation grounds in the middle of the night. There are others who think that Tantra is something to do with midnight orgies. But Tantra, even though for various reasons it has got associated with such ideas, in its pure form, Tantra means that which acts as an yantra to put you in touch with your inner energy, which male or female, in male or female, happens to be feminine. Whenever you say Shakti, energy, in the Indian tradition it's feminine, but not male. I mean, not that it's male or female, Shakti is Shakti, but it's represented and symbolized as female. So, in the human system, this Shakti, while the macrocosm has Shakti, nothing can function without energy. Sum total of all energy is called Parashakti. Now, in every human being, Parashakti, in the form of Parashakti, is also called Devi, Paradevata, Bhavani, Tripura Sundari, and so on. This Shakti, fortunately for us, resides in every human being, man or woman. in the form of the Devi known as the Kulakundali Devi. And it resides in a certain center of a nervous system, which is called the Mula Adhara. Now, if you read the Saundara Lahari, also Lalita Sahasranama, many mentions of centers and chakras and Sahasradala and so on and so forth. Now this energy resides in all of us in the form of the Kulakundali Devi. In the bottom of the spine area, which is known as the Mooladhara chakra. Mooladhara means root foundation. It's the root and it is also the foundation. Now in the tantric literature, there is outer worship as well as inner worship. Outer worship, diagrams are drawn where all the tattvas are represented, and in the center comes the triangle, and in the center of the triangle comes the dot, which is known as Bindu. You would have seen a Sri Yantra. There are two types of Sri Yantra. There is a Samhara Yantra and there is a Srishti Yantra. Little variations here and there. Now when you say Samhara Yantra, it doesn't mean, popularly people think Samhara Yantra means to destroy. It actually means to destroy ignorance so that the Srishti Yantra can come into being. Srishti meaning what? Creative, creation. So Samhara is to take away that which is not conducive to your spiritual progress. And Srishti is that from there on to take off into your spiritual realms. And Tantra is actually a very practical system. It's not just theory. Okay, now why Tantra? Because there is Vedanta, there is Yoga. The fact is that most human beings like you and me cannot practice withdrawal of the senses and become sannyasins. It's not possible. So Tantra is, you will see that much of Tantra is practiced by people who live an ordinary worldly life. Not ordinary, it may not be ordinary, it may be an extraordinary worldly life, but there is no condition that one who practices Tantra should be a total celibate or a sannyasi. Why? Because as the Mahanirvana Tantra says, Tantra believes in the idea, because most of us really cannot withdraw our senses. It's very difficult. We can try for 10 minutes and the senses are back in full force. You think, I'm going to be having no desires and so on. Then you pass Umudi Bangada Chetti and then you want to buy some silk saris. So it's natural as mind goes. The people who talk a lot of about sannyasa, Shankara and all, but the moment they go to Nalli, then they want to buy Banaras Pattu saris because Devi is also clad in the Pattu sari and so on. So Tantra understands this fact that we all human beings, men also, men and women, in living in this world cannot be totally cut off from senses. So the theory of Tantra, as said in the Mahanirvana Tantra, is Bhogo Yogayate. You can even say Yogo Bhogayate, which means yoga through bhoga. Now that is where the whole misunderstanding has taken place. People think because it is yoga through bhoga, you should continue to do bhoga. In the bhoga process, the yoga is forgotten completely. What they're trying to say is that most people would like to enjoy something, discover how it is, and then say, no, this is not okay, and then leave it. Rather than say, I don't want to see it. Because in the progress of sadhana, somewhere along the line, you suddenly get the feeling, oh, if only I had enjoyed it. Finished. It stopped then. No more moving forward. If you have seen and said, this is what it is, doesn't mean it. And then you go forward. So you enjoy, also when you enjoy with the senses, in Tantra there are ways and means by which it can be sublimated. And a time will come when you don't have to do anything sensual. The sensuality and the beauty and the ecstasy of the experience will take place in the sadhak without indulging in anything physical and sensual. That is the ultimate essence of Tantra. If one doesn't understand that, one might fall into this process of endless orgies. Nothing will happen. There will be no progress. So therefore one should understand this before going into the Tantra literature. Of course, it also has, Saundari Lahari is not the only literature available for Tantra. There are very many textbooks on Tantra. But Saundari Lahari is important because it was written by somebody who, having gone through the essence of Vedanta, still decided Tantra is important. So, it's actually not anything mysterious, it's meant for you and me. We who live in this world, if we can see the beauty of the Devi in everything that is beautiful, instead of saying, I am not good. There is a sect of people who don't see women, they tie a cloth when women are. Is this possible to survive in this world this way? How many clothes will you tie? When they travel in the aeroplane, they don't want to see the air hostess, so somebody puts a cloth. Is this practical? Is this possible? So, seeing beauty, it doesn't mean that you have become sullied. To worship beauty without physically wanting to satisfy yourself is the most important part of the tantric teachings. So, that is the meaning of yogo bhogayate. That means through bhoga you attain yoga. Which is why when you worship the Devi in Tantra, the Devi is decorated in such a beautiful way. Everything is there. And if you read the Saundari Lahari, you will see Shankara's descriptions of Devi.